Okay, well, shall we start?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'm using my small screen that I don't usually use, so it may be a little tough for me to see the entire chart, but I'll do my best. I'm going to start with Dixie, because as you guys know, I watch Dixie quite closely, mainly because it influences the entire market. And what I saw on Dixie is quite interesting because it is quite different than everything else because it's consolidating like on the higher time frame level, which we don't see anywhere else. So I've actually circled it on the weekly, where you can see all the protected highs and lows and all the liquidity targets are all in this small little area. It's not a small area, but it's small compared to the entire zone that we have from the top to the bottom. And I'll just remove this and then just quickly go down, because what we see on the daily now, you can see my order flow script that I wrote, so we have a reminder of all the time frames. But you can see on the weekly we did break structure, so we're bearish on the weekly, but again the zone is quite small. And on the daily as well, we broke structure and we're bearish on the daily as well. But then what we saw the last few weeks is this become quite bullish. So on the 4 hour you can see that it's broke structure to the upside mid-June, and it started consolidating again, but the last couple of weeks it's been pushing up quite a bit. So we go on the hourly, you can see it was coming down, but it broke up again, broke structure, and now it's pushing up to the upside. And then for our intraday trades, you can clearly see it pushed up a lot. So this was Thursday and Friday, actually, it pushed up a lot.
Yeah, it did.
And then prior to that, it also pushed up a lot as well. So what's going to happen next? It's difficult to say, but what I can see is some pullbacks before further pushes up. And if we go back to the hourly, so we have our 4 hour liquidity target up here. And this for me is a more likely target to hit before it comes down, because when it comes down, it's actually further down, I think. Yeah, so our liquidity target for the daily is down here. So that's why I think it's more obvious for the price to come up and take out the 4 hour liquidity targets before it starts targeting the daily and weekly liquidity targets. So anyways, that's what I'm looking at for Dixie, and obviously it's going to influence the rest of the pairs. And if we look at EU, so EU is consistent with Dixie because you can see it's bullish on the weekly, bullish on the daily. Yeah, broke structure here on the daily and it's pushing up now. And on the 4 hour, it's bullish because last week it broke structure. So that's why this last week we've been expecting the price to come down, and it has quite a bit. You can see on the hourly and on the 15-minute, we're very bearish. And what's the expectation moving forward? So like I said, we'll probably see some sort of pullbacks before it pushes further down. But we assume that this 4 hour is going to hold. And then after that, it's going to push up to some of these liquidity targets up here. So 4 hour and then daily further up.
Yeah.
And the problem with EU is we're in a very difficult area because this was actually the area that I was looking at for the price to reverse. But it's actually exceeded that. it's created equal lows. So equal lows all the way back from over here. So our expectation now is it's going to take that liquidity and come down. But when you look below, there's multiple small zones that it could target. But if you think about what's the most likely scenario, it'll probably come down to the bottom before it reverses and pushes up and targets those higher time frame liquidity targets.
Hey, Heath, can you zoom out a little bit? Just like use your wheel, zoom out.
On the 1 hour?
Yeah, that's fine. Or out, not in. Keep going. See something. Okay.
I have that same market. I have it coming all the way down to the last MB.
It makes the most sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most likely scenario for it to come all the way down here before it reverses and then starts pushing up to these liquidity targets up here.
Agreed.
So I want to see the reaction on the market open, especially Japan open, and see if it does do a little pullback before it pushes down again.
Yeah.
Because that would be awesome if it hit like let me go to the 15 minute. If it hit some of these MBs that were created on the way down and then continues to the downside after that.
Yeah, I can see Euro pulling it back and then
Blowing through those equal lows.
then US dollar bringing it down, considering we're so bullish on DXY.
Yeah. Dixie is very bullish right now.
Yeah, so
And if you zoom out too, that demand zone right under some equal lows. So
Okay. Let me move on to GU. So GU is similar to EU with one big difference. The weekly is bearish while it's bullish on EU. So if we look back here, you can see we broke structure on the weekly, but we've never came back up to break structure to turn bullish. Whereas on EU, it did something similar where it came down, became bearish, but then after that, it broke structure and became bullish. Whereas we don't have that on GU. So if we go to the daily, towards our daily. Right here. Okay, so we came down really low when it was last year in March, and then ever since then, it's just been going up. So last year, I don't know if you were following the market so much back then, but I was primarily trading GU at that time. And the reason why is because it just kept on going up. It just kept on pushing higher and higher and higher. And I remember at that time, there was a lot of Brexit-related news. And every time those news reports came out, the price would just push up like crazy. And then every time COVID news came out, the price would push down. And those were the two main things that I was watching for to enter trades. Because it was crazy. Every time we saw COVID, it was just like clockwork. The price would shoot down. And every time we saw Brexit news, the price would push up. And back then I was in a group that traded a lot of fundamental news. So we were all watching the news headlines at the time to see the reaction with you. Okay, so if we go down a little further on the 4 hour, So you can see lower time frame, it actually all looks bearish. We've broken structure on the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and the 15-minute. And the thing that worries me about this is we're seeing bullishness on EU, so we're expecting the price to eventually go up. But when you look at GU, it looks like a lot of distribution here.
Yeah.
Like it may just push down and follow the weekly order flow.
You think it will push up first, kind of going towards that protected high on the 4 hour to, you know what I'm saying, that MB up there?
It could, but our 4 hour liquidity target is here, so it could just, grab that and push down.
Yeah.
I mean, just when you look at, the structure that's being created, it does look like it's distributing a lot.
Right.
And when you see this type of formation, I mean, you think it's going to grab some liquidity and then just push down. But I don't know, it's a little premature to say too much, because obviously what we really need to see is a break of this protected low.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's kind of unclear right now. That one spike down liquidated, broke structure to the downside.
Yeah.
But no.
And then if we look at the hourly does look quite bearish as well, but that's consistent with what we're seeing on EU as well. And it could, just do the exact same thing, come down and take some of the liquidity, and after that, reverse and push up. But the thing about GU is it moves a lot more than EU does. So, I mean, EU could move like, 50 pips on one move, where GU moves like 100.
Yeah, I've seen that too. GU does move a lot faster than EU.
And then on the, yeah.
I was gonna say, why do people trade EU a lot? Like, I feel like that's everyone's like go-to there.
Because it has the most liquidity. It's the most traded pair in the entire market by far. And I mean, for me, the reason why I started focusing on it, because when I was watching the way it moves, the movements, it can be quite erratic, and you can clearly see the banks are clearly pushing the markets in erratic ways. And I felt that if I can master EU, then I could probably trade anything after that.
Gotcha.
So anyways, on the 15-minute, as of right now, for me, it's similar to what we're seeing on EU. I'm guessing that it may do some small pullbacks, and then after that, push a little lower. And if we go to GJ is actually quite interesting, because it's showing a lot more things that I'm a little worried about than the other pairs. So broke structure on the weekly, so we're bullish. It's come quite low to test the protected lows a couple times, but every time it's pushed up quite hard after hitting those lows. And then on the daily, it's bullish as well. So it broke the high here. But again, you look at the top, it looks like it's distributing again.
Yeah.
4 hour. You can see it a little more clearly, the distribution. And on the hourly, it's broke structure to the downside, bearish. 15-minute, it's currently bullish, but if you look right here, our predicted lows right here, and sorry, it's this one. And if it breaks down, then we're short-term bearish on GJ. And this potentially could push down a lot further because JPY is getting quite strong. And if we start to see more uncertainty in the markets, like, shit like Afghanistan and stuff like that, then USD, JPY, I mean, those are the safe havens where people are going to start putting their money in. Yeah. Which would essentially cause like some of the majors and JPY pairs to go down. And AU is the one that I was thinking about entering on Friday. I actually did, but saw the reduction on XC where it was continuing to push up. And in the end, the price came back to break even, and I just closed my trade. I think it was like a minus $1 loss. But I mean, that's nothing. But this one I think is in a good zone where we could start to see a reversal here. I mean, more than the other pairs. So daily is currently bearish. 4 hour is bullish. It broke structure. This is the same thing that we saw on EU, but it actually pushed up a little higher. It's more noticeable because on EU it was just like a small wick that popped above the break of structure. But this was the MB that I was targeting for the reversal, and was thinking that it may just hit it and push up, and it actually did that here, you can see, but then it came back down. So potentially this could be an invalid demand zone, and it actually comes down to the lower MB. Hourly is bearish, pushing down further and further. And yeah, I mean, we're expecting EU to come down a little further, so it would be logical for AU to also do the same.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see on Friday night, it just continued lower and lower and lower. I think I was probably in around here. It pushed up a little in profit, then came down in drawdown. And then one last time, I think it came up, break even, and that's when I closed my trade. And then after that, it just went further and further down. So anyways, as of right now, I don't really see so much that's sitting up. I mean, in terms of ideas, I'm looking for pullbacks on the majors to go down a little further.
Are you going to try to wait for the pullback to happen, or are you going to try to get in on the pullback?
I won't get in on the pullback because it's not clear that it's going to pull back.
Gotcha.
It may just continue down, and if that happens, then I mean, I'll just look for buys after.
Yeah. Yeah, good plan.
I mean, as of right now, I'm so close on that challenge that, I mean, I don't want to, do stupid and risky shit. I'd prefer to wait for the good setups.
What challenge you doing?
What's that?
What challenge you doing?
FTMO. I've always been doing FTMO.
What, the 50K?
100K.
100K? Fuck yeah, dude. I know, right?
But that's what I had when I was funded, so I just wanted to go the same thing. And now with all the good news that they have with FTMO, the 80-20 split, I mean, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 10% more that I'll be getting every month. I mean,
also, said the 80-20?
Yeah, they increased the split to 80-20 now. And with their scaling plan, if you're profitable, a total of 10% over 4 months, nice. Then they increase it to 90-10.
Oh wow,
that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's not gonna last too long. Better get it while you can. I
think the first time I got a payout, I got like a little over 5,000 on a 8,000 something profit.
Nice.
But now with the 80-20, it's going to be a lot more.
Yeah, it's gonna
be significantly more.
Yeah.
Significant.
And then if it goes to 90-10, shit.
Yeah. Give me my money.
It's almost to the point where you don't need your own personal account at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, when they're taking 30% of your profits, I mean, yeah, definitely you want to have your own personal account at one point or another. But if they're only taking 10% now, I mean, that's much less significant.
Yeah.
Especially over time when, I mean, we're expected to become better and better at this and eventually make more and more money in terms of percentage every month. And if we're scaling into our accounts and combining further challenges that we're doing down the line, I mean, we're going to be doubling the profits that we're going to be making in just a matter of months.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, that's it for me. Danny, I think you can continue on from here.
All right. I don't even have the charts pulled up. Let's see here. All right, we'll just start from the top. I'm gonna do some of these really quick, but I was looking at AUD CAD, and I posted some of this stuff, but we're clearly going down, probably to mitigate something in here, because there's your spring. So I am expecting AUD CAD to go down a bunch. On the daily, this was a very simple trade that I was looking at. And you guys know me, I like to trade the higher time frames. I don't mind holding positions for a couple weeks or whatever. But with AUD CAD, I literally saw this up move unmitigated that broke structure to the downside. This Destiny, like I was telling you about, with the structure, that right there, liquidity, you would think that this was your up, this is your down, this is your up, this is your down. You would think that that would be your protected high, but it's that fake protected high that we were talking about to come mitigate this position up here to drop further down. So this was a very simple trade that I was looking at on a 4 hour. Easy, you know, very, very easy. So with AUD CAD, I do expect this to keep plummeting down. Probably down into here somewhere. But yeah, that was a very simple trade that I took at the beginning of the week, I think, or might have been last week, beginning of last week. But I'd still be in that. I'd be holding, you know, like I would probably hold this trade throughout the whole challenge, you know, and just to see where it goes. I'd be break even right now on this, and then, you know, and then whenever my challenge is done with, close it out, so see where I am. It does have good potential to hit my final target. I like it. Simple trade, and it's not much thought into this, you know.
So that one trade will like complete your challenge or finish your challenge.
No, it's only a 1 to 5.
Okay.
It's only 1 to 5, but I would hold it throughout the duration. And I mean, if it came up, they'd give me like a 0.5 or break even. I mean, I'd be fine with that because the probability of this breaking this low is very high.
Right.
We're on a higher time frame. This is the unmitigated up move that took liquidity, that broke structure. And here's your fake one, like we're talking about.
Yeah.
To the up, into here, and down. Now, our next pair is very interesting. What I'm looking at, you can just look on the daily, just zoomed out, we're bullish. We are so bullish. Then we turned bears for a little bit, and now we finally broke structure to the upside again. We have liquidity sitting right here. If you want to look at this as Wyckoff, you can. Your preliminary supply, selling climax, AR, secondary test, spring, break a structure, sign of strength. So where does price like to go to? 50% of the spring. I was looking at that. And something else that I've been looking at too, just to add another confluence in there, and where is it going? Like, okay, so we hit exactly at 50% or 50% of the whole down push, but we also hit the 618 retracement level as well. And I know that's retail, but a lot of retail on the higher time frame does work because it's higher time frame. So I'm looking at that as another confluence about this area right here. I'm not even focused on any of these. I do see this demand level right here that it is possible for it to come down to, which is fine if it wants to. So I do have that level as well, but I really want to see this level hit. And the funny thing about this level is that once we get down to the lower time frame, we're expecting a reversal from this area because of Wyckoff, because of what we just saw, because of the break of structure to the upside. We're bullish on the higher time frames, and we're at the 50%, and we're at a 618 retracement level. So I was like, okay, let's wait for a break of structure to the upside. Well, there's your break of structure to the upside. There's your Wyckoff, the fractal Wyckoff from the daily, So here we are. We have the 1, 2, 3 push that broke structure impulsively, stayed above structure for a little bit, came down. The only thing I do not like about this particular trade is that after it broke structure, it came down kind of fast. So where it's going to go, I don't know. I still think it's going to reject from here. I still think so, because we did just come down to the 50% of, if you look on the lower time frame, this mid block right here. Last down push before the up. There's your break of structure on this lower time frame. And where does it like to mitigate? 50%. And looks like it just tapped it, and looks like we are getting a rejection from there. So me personally, like I said, I don't mind taking the higher time frame buys and sells. I would have taken this completely just like this, like this setup, 50% of the whole last down push, and that would have been my trade. Simple as that. I would once it breaks this structure, I would move my stop to break even. And then I would wait for a target to be hit. This would be my long-term target, the high, but probably since this is going to take months to do, I'd probably just target that, which would be a 1 to 8.
No.
1 to 8. If it hit, it might take a couple weeks, but let's just say I entered this trade tomorrow or tonight. First trade of the challenge, which I'm gonna try to catch a lower time frame Wyckoff in here. But even if I just entered this right here with that, it would go up pretty good, and I'd be fine holding. So I think that's very interesting on AJ. And it's also kind of going along with a lot of the other AUD pairs. So what am I seeing with AUD? But we have this breaking structure right here to the upside. Now where are we at? 50% of this last down push. And this is on the weekly too. So, and like just filled in this weekly imbalance right here, took this liquidity because that did not break structure. And now we're at this move right here. So could be looking for buys in here. Go to the daily. We're still bearish. Go to the hour. This could be the start of the whole schematic, where we started to break this. I will look at this, more of this as structure than this, because like we were talking about, Destiny, once again, there's your fake protected high. This area right here. So it may want to push down a little bit further, but also like I'm thinking about this on AUD terms. Like if AUD is going to push this market, like the AUD markets, in a certain direction, I think now would be the time to do it, because it looks like they're setting up for these massive buys on a lot of these charts with AUD JPY and then AUD USD. Same scenario. We have the break of structure. We have to come back down. Where are we looking at? 50% of the whole last down push right there. And then we could try to look to take it to the upside. But I also am cognizant of that there is a demand level, an extreme demand level that it could come to as well. So kind of looking at that. AUD Chef. We could see a turnaround here. I think this was just more of a liquidity grab than anything than breaking structure, because we're still bearish. This could have broke, but now we got a lower low. So I'm looking at this whole area that we could be looking for sells at. I don't particularly like anything on this pair right now. You can definitely see it's like, we're turning up, but it also looks like we could be forming a distribution. So what I would like to see before anything, and I know it's an hour, but something like that. But probably not going to take anything on this pair unless I get a clean breaker structure to the downside. So I don't know, I'm not really liking how this pair is setting up. CAD JPY, kind of same thing, and we're seeing this a lot with the JPY pairs, where we've actually came down to. We took out this liquidity right here, came down. So we're still bearish. We're definitely still bearish on this. I was thinking about looking for buys, but I never did. I never put anything in there because of that reason. But so this was a trade. This was one of the trades that I was looking at that I missed on Friday, I believe. So where it comes up, we broke structure. Here's your Wyckoff right here. There's your UTAD, your break, and then here's your test. Here's your LPS. Where could we have taken that? Last up push. Didn't quite hit the 50, but it was pretty close. So that could have been one of the trades we could have got into. I didn't like this trade right here from the beginning of the week because we didn't break structure to the downside right here. I wanted this to come lower and then up, and then I would have been looking for sells in there. So I wasn't very confident on this zone. So for CAD JPY, kind of still looking for sells. not really like that. That's really about it. I mean, we broke structure. This could be a buy scenario where it could just go right back up, considering of what I'm looking at for all the JPY pairs. It is possible that this could have been the break of structure right here. I would have liked to seen this break of structure. That the break, but it never did. So Chef JPY didn't really like anything in here. I know on the higher time frame, on the dailies, we definitely took all this liquidity. We traded down, big impulse, came back up. Now we broke structure to this downside. We could be looking at this as a liquidity high, and we could be looking at something like that. This whole area for it to come down to or come up to an implement. I do like that idea, but that's going to take a while. So that's why I'm not really liking anything on this pair. We could be looking for buys though. We are on the daily. We could be looking for buys. We are in this demand zone. We did fill that in, but this didn't really do much. I mean, it sent this up that way, but I just don't see anything on this pair right now. And it's a chef pair, so I'm not really big on chef pairs. All right, EA, what I was looking at is just following structure up, big up push, where to come to, last demand area. And that is my last demand zone. And it came down perfectly to the 50 and started trading up. That was easy. But for this, like, honestly, like at this point with this pair, I'm not really looking for anything on this pair because it's in the middle of this range. It's in the middle of this range, and that was the buy that you should have took. I don't like trying. Personally, I don't want to try to get in on this pair to take it up because it could easily just come back down, liquidate all of this before skyrocketing up too. And we do down here, we do have a triple bottom practically. So it could liquidate that, but I see it going up before anything. Euro CAD, I didn't really like anything. I don't really like how that chart looks. Euro Chef, I didn't really like how this chart looks either. Euro GBP, I've been looking at this for a little bit too. So on this one, kind of just going sideways, but this would be our low. That would be our protected high on the daily. On the 4 hour, what was I seeing? Wyckoff. There's your last up push, the whole thing before the down move that broke structure. Now I was looking at 50% of this because it lined up with this, which is still possible, which I do like this zone. Because everything else is filled. Everything else is filled in here. With these two wicks coming up, filled everything. This coming up, filled that, and now we have the breakdown, which was very impulsively too. So, and now here we are spending time below the break of structure. But then what was I seeing down here? Now, I did see that it did come up open, hit the open mitigation. That might all it needed to do. We're not sure. But after it hit that, we broke structure to the downside. So where's your last up push? Before the down move, 50%, boom, that would have been my trade. Simple, easy, just following structure, and I'd be at break even right now. And holding it because of that's my bias. My bias took this liquidity, came up, mitigated, broke structure, liquidity high right here, boom, take it out, and on the lower time frame, this broke structure. Well, I would say this would be structure right here. We haven't broken this structure yet. So if it does break this structure, this would be nice right here. Do this, that, this. Look at that zone. Be looking for sells around there, which look where that lines up with. Boom. So I would probably take this whole move right here. That there is my refined. That would be my refined zone. So I would like to see it do this. Well, we did just break this, and then we started coming back up. So I can see it doing some bullshit like this. Maybe something like that. Create liquidity, break structures to the downside fully, and then come back up and mitigate. Possible. Or this could be the breaker structure right here on this time frame, and it could be coming up just to mitigate now. So I definitely want to see what this pair is doing market opens, for sure. Let's see what else. EJ. I haven't really been looking at EJ that much. Kind of same thing like with the JPY pairs. What has happened? Well, we have this breaker structure to the upside. Where are we at? Last down push. We're at 50% on the lower time frame. You could possibly say this is a breaker structure because we are expecting a turnaround from this point. It's a possibility that it could be turning around at this point because of where we're at. So I would take this as a minor breaker structure, and now it's coming down hopefully just to mitigate and then possibly take up. But considering I would rather a structure break like this, but that didn't happen. So that's why I like AJ better. And this is why I trade a lot of pairs too, is because let's just say I was just trading EJ and I wasn't looking at AJ. Well, they're kind of doing the same thing, and now I'm starting to realize like what is going on with these pairs? What is moving these pairs? Like how are they all correlating too? So I'm starting to see AUD and JPY are all correlating about the same. They're at 50% of this whole last down push, and some of them started to break structure on the lower time frames at this area too. So a lot of them are kind of coinciding together, which is giving me more confidence that this could be the move. EN, I don't think I was really looking at anything on EN. No, it just looks like shit. I see that we did come down to this, took all this liquidity right here, and this could be a good possible turn. Time to go up, but it's still not really too clear.
No, he could have done that. Because if you look, it took the liquidity in March. And then after that, it broke structure. It's doing a retest. It's in a demand zone right now. Potentially, it could reverse from here and just shoot up.
Yeah, it definitely could. It definitely could. Lower time frames, what happened?
What's the weekly like? Are we bullish or bearish?
We're going sideways.
Bullish. It's breaking structure to the upside.
And this could have been a whole big ass accumulation too. Down push, up, mitigation, break. So technically this would be your protected low. So I mean, it's interesting, but it's not a pair that I really look at a lot, because lately it's just been doing this. Like I just don't like it. I wasn't sure where it was going. I was looking at this. I was looking at buys in here, and if you look, and this is what scares me about this market, because we'd be looking at buys in here. In there, came to it, broke structure, mitigated, but never broke structure to the upside again. Then it just kept trading down. Could you have caught some, probably would have broke even on something like that right in here.
No, it would have fucked us up.
But EU, I barely even look at EU. But we did get the breaker structure right here to the upside. And double tops liquidity coming down. We are looking at this demand zone down here. No, we all are. And that's where we're taking this gonna turn around. I have the same bias. What would you guys? GA's been very interesting too. On the daily, we've been trading up for sure. Came down, broke structure, and now we are right at about 50% of the last up push. Looks like that got mitigated right there. So we do have this imbalance in here. We do have this liquidity right here. So I would not mind seeing push up and take it out, and then break structure, and then test, keep going down. Something like that. Bye, Noli.
Bye. I said done.
Yeah, I know. Cause shower still. Alright. Bye, I love you guys. Alright, so GA looks interesting, and funny part about this is that this could be the turnaround spot right here. But we have not got a breaker structure to the downside yet, and I still believe that still think we need to go higher, just to take out more liquidity and mitigate more. So interesting, kind of keeping my eye on it, but not really in favor of trading it right now.
If it came a little higher, would you?
Possibly. I would like to see a bigger move though. Like, I would like to see a bigger move. Like, it looks like we're starting to distribute, of course, but we do have the strong impulse down move. I don't know. See, this one's tricky because of all this. I'm looking at this. It's mitigating this right here, this demand right here that is at 50%, which we've seen it do multiple times, likes to do that. So, I mean, we could be looking for sales, but we haven't really got a strong sign that at the weekend switch to the strong hands. We haven't got that sign yet. So That's why I want to see an impulsive move up and then an impulsive move down. We didn't get that impulsive move up yet. We just got the impulsive move down, and it didn't really break structure to the downside. So that's why I want this one to play out a little bit more. GBP CAD, don't like it. We're trading up. We're trading up. I think this is going to be a fake supply zone because it never broke structure. This is just shit. Honestly, if I was going to look for anything, it'd be to fill in this 4-hour imbalance right here. That's about it. I don't really like this pair, not much. Neither do I need GBP Chef. I did see this though. So we're trading down. We have this last up push that took liquidity, that broke structure to the downside. Here's all your liquidity right here, sitting all up here. And all I see is sells from here. We finally hit it. And it looks like we're getting some bearish pressure right now, but we haven't broken structure. So still waiting on that. GJ, we're in this range. Kind of looks like we might start to be accumulating because we are bullish, but we did not get a break of structure to the upside, and this could be just a liquidity low. Don't really like GJ right now. Really don't. We look at this last push, mitigation right here. And we could be looking for more sells to target this liquidity here. So we broke structure to the downside right here, lower time frame. Boom. And looks like this was a strong demand that took out liquidity. So, and then this would be our liquidity swing. Right there. So with GJ, want to trade up more into this area, then I'll look for sells. If it happens, it happens. But that's what I'd be waiting for on GJ. Destiny, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
You see how my analysis is pretty quick right off the higher time frames, just to see where we're going?
I was gonna say, like, I'd be spending, like, no cap, like a good 25 minutes, like, marking it up. Do I not need to do that until I get to like a 1 hour or 4 hour or something?
Well, yeah, until your zones are met, until the zones that you want, that your bias is created on, it is met, and then you can go down to the lower time frames. But there's no point to go down to lower time frames if it's not met.
Oh, I did be like marking literally like every protected low from weekly to like 15 minutes.
I mean, as long as you can see your market structure on how it's going, and when you get on the pair, like you do like a top down, like even just with your eyes, like top down, like, okay, I see where we're at, going right there. Go to the daily, you know, okay, we broke structure to the downside pretty quick. That could be a good sign of reversal. Good. So now what are we waiting for? Nothing. We're just waiting for this to come back up into my bias area. This is where I want to see sells from. Some people might be looking at this for sells. Everybody trades a little bit differently. You just got to stick to the way you trade. You know, like.
So you wouldn't trade the buys up into your sell? You're just literally waiting. Okay.
That's why I look at 28 pairs. I don't have to.
Yeah.
I don't have to. Like, a lot of people who trade 1 or 2 pairs, they'd be looking for buys in here, which, I mean, is pro trend. I mean, we are looking for buys, but I mean, on a higher time frame, like I'm looking for sells because we just broke structure to the downside.
Bet.
So, I mean, that's why I look at so many pairs. I mean, it's just easier, I think, for me.
I was gonna say, I think sometimes I make it complicated more than I should because I want to be on every fucking move, but that's not good.
I used to do that too. I literally used to fucking like spend like an hour on each chart trying to mark out every supply zone, every demand zone, all the imbalances. Like on this, I would have had like this area right here, and then like I would have refined it down. Like, but I mean, I realized like if I'm trading all of these pairs, like there's no need to do that until it gets into that zone. I mean, look how many zones you could have marked up here on the hour.
Man.
You know, you can look at this one, you can look at this one, you can look at every single one of these swings. You know, and you could, but if you weren't looking at the high, like for me, that's not my bias. My bias on this is coming from the daily, having a very simple analysis. We're trading up, we broke structure to the downside. Now I want to see mitigation at here, at your protected high.
Yeah.
And while I'm waiting for that, I'm looking at other pairs, you know?
Wait, so how do you, since you trade the higher time frame, let's say you're in drawdown for a few days, like that doesn't bother you, like your psychology?
Well, if I'm in drawdown for a couple of days, then it gets to a point where it's like, okay, I'll just close the trade, you know? I'll just close the trade. It obviously didn't react like I wanted it to. So then I'd close it for, as minimal loss as I could, not taking the full loss. But like you want to see your reactions, you want to see what your thoughts are, what your biases play out. And if you're in drawdown for a couple of days, then probably just close it out. And then if it hasn't invalidated your demand or supply, then what you could do is close it out and look for fractal buys or sells inside that area, because at that point, if you're in drawdown, that means that you're pretty much at the extreme, the very, very extreme of that zone. And you could be looking for fractal Wyckoff in there, which is what I do essentially as well once we get down to lower time frames. Like AJ, for an example. I'm not going to take this trade. This is my bias. I'm not going to take that, That would take a year to play out.
Damn, a year.
But now it's here. But now it's here. I can start looking for shit, Now I can start looking for shit. And here's another thing too, is like trade what the market gives you too, because I see a lot of people try to like go all the way down on the time frames. Okay, we got the breaker structure, and now we're looking for this tiny itty bitty accumulation.
Facts.
in here. We're trying to trade this. Loss. Boom. Breaker structure. Loss. You could have caught a buy right here and then broke even.
I'm not gonna lie. At first, when I joined Mint, he kind of gave off the perception of because of how he trades, on the second whatever. So I'm like, oh, do I have to do that? I'm literally trying to, match him.
Right.
So every time I'm like, yo, why can't I get this? No one's else on the higher time frame. Everyone else is literally seconds or minutes. Like,
well, a lot of people like only trade 1 or 2 pairs. Yeah, you know, like a lot of people do that. But when you're trading all these pairs, like I do, like you're not going to get setups like that. Like, and higher time frame is king. So like all these setups that I'm looking at, like, and literally like if it happens, like, okay, we're at the extreme of this zone right here. And like I said, what am I gonna be looking for on this? I'm looking for that. And then I'll get in on, you know, then if I'm awake, because a lot of this stuff happens in London and I miss it, I'd get in on this trade. Right there, something like that, you know?
And it's easier for you to set limits. So you only set limits, right? I'm assuming? Yeah.
It depends. It depends on like what time am I on the charts? You know, did I set it the night before? Did I not set it? Am I still waiting for something to happen? You know, and do that. Like for that week, do I feel like going down on the lower time frames and really trying to scout the market and getting a phenomenal trade like this? Like, do I really want to spend the time like sitting around and watching this chart like in the zone on the minute time frame, or do I want to just enter my trade, enter the trade, and go on with my day? You know, it's really going to depend on your lifestyle, honestly, too, on how you want to manage these positions, how you want to get in on the positions. What are you doing that week? Like, are you going to be out of town? You know, do you have a lot of schoolwork? Do you have to work? You know, like what do you got going on? You know,
basically you're like versatile, but a lot of people are just trying to be one-sided type shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'll trade both ways. Like all this minute and 5 second trades, like I can kill those trades. Like I can murder like the 5 second time frames. You know, literally just following structure and using buy stops and sell stop, just on structure. But some of the pairs that I've tested that on are like EJ and CJ and stuff, where they don't have like zero spreads. I haven't tried it on EU yet because that's what has the lowest spread. And if I was going to do it live, that's what I would have to do it on. But like I told you, like when I do that at night, like testing and stuff, like I'm literally just honing in on my skills on like waiting for the breaks of structure, following structure. When does the structure change? Where can I put my stops? Was this a liquidity hump? Was this what was this protected on the 5 second time frame? Is this a protected on the 5 second time frame or not? You know, like, but where does my analysis start from? The 6 month. I literally start from like a 6 month time frame and go all the way down. That's the only way I've ever been able to do the second charts, is literally if you take one pair and do a full top down, and that might take about 40 minutes to do a full top down, marking all your protected lows, protected highs, all the way down to the 5 second time frame. And then once you get down the 5 second time frame, then you just follow structure. Follow structure and manage your positions. See, like the higher time frames, I don't manage. I hold. I will put my stops to break even and hold. On the second time frame, I'll manage.
Right. You have to.
Well, you don't have to. You can put it at break even and and hold it to your 5 minute protected low. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to correlate it with the time frames. You don't want to get in on a trade on the 5 second time frame and expect it to break daily highs, unless you're in an area like AJ right here, which could be a phenomenal trade if I can get it. Like, if I get down to the 5 second time frame and see a perfect Wyckoff like this, like if boom, liquidity, and don't be fooled by market open and close, because they do this for a reason. I've seen it played out so many times where the market close and open will create the spring. And look what just happened. We have the the strong down push. I want to see market come up, and then I'll enter right here. Boom. Take that. There's my trade. Would I be targeted? Same target. Be a 1 to 18. And that's how you get the stupid RRs. 1 to 18. You know?
Yeah.
But would I hold that? Yeah, I would hold that because higher time frames, I am in the spot. I am in the spot for my bias to turn around at. So yes, I would hold something like that for sure. But if I was just following structure down and I saw this,
You wouldn't know what to do. Or what? What kind of stuff?
just following mint blocks down. There's your break. Short. Stop. Target. Simple. Boom. Trade done. Trade done. There's your mint block. See, and this is where you got to see like what is going on. Like, okay, there's your mint block. Boom. See, now I don't really have a target because this was a nice mint block where it came up a bunch, where my stop could be short. But this one, so what I do with this? Probably 1 to 2. Boom, done. There's your mint block. See, and just following structure all the way down. That's how I did EJ. That's exactly what I did with EJ, and it worked out beautiful. All right, so if we look at GU, I think that's what we're on. GU, I was expecting buys from here, which I still am. I definitely want to see buys for sure. This was our protected low right here. It did get traded through, but I'm thinking this could just be a liquidity grab to keep going higher. Or this is the break of structure to come down to mitigate this. Actually, I like this better. See, and look, here's what's funny about this. So this is where I get kind of confused at as well, not even gonna lie, because here is our UTAD. There's our UTAD, boom. Now we broke structure to the downside and where to come back and test, 50%. So now, is this our protected low? Here's our liquidity high. Could this be it? Not breaking this because this was the mitigation? Or are you looking at this on a lower time frame?
Which time frame are you talking about?
Well, this is the 4 hour right here.
For me, 4 hour, it's bearish. The protected high is at the top, 1.42504.
Mm-hmm.
Protected, sorry. Something's wrong. Something's fucked up on my chart. So 4 hours bullish.
4 hours bullish, yeah. But on the hour is bearish. We just broke down, we just distributed. We just distributed. We definitely broke major structure. We broke the AR to the downside. So now what I want to see.
Yeah. So just really quick, the protected low is 1.35731 on the 4 hour, and the liquidity target is 1.39828.
Yeah.
And we're like kind of in the middle, in between right now. But we are bearish on 1 hour and 15, so it may continue down a little more.
Yeah, it could. And we just distributed too, you know? We definitely just distributed in here. Finally broke this. So now we're waiting for the... See, I would be looking at this whole thing right here.
I was going to say, check the high break of structure. Like that whole big push down.
Yeah, I just don't label it.
But if we think about what's going on with Dixie and what we're seeing on EU, I mean, we're expecting this to go down. And it may not be a big pullback. I mean, Dixie is really bullish right now, so it may have a slight pullback before pushing down to the demand zones.
Yeah.
And if it does that, GU is going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, so here's the thing with that. So if it does push down, here and then do the pullback, I'm not going to be looking for sells anymore. This is invalid for me now. If it turns around now, literally, if we just like liquidity grab, break a structure as well, then I want to see a move up, take this liquidity into this demand zone right here, or supply zone up here, and then look for sells to break this structure, and that'd be it. So literally, I would take this.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm not sure it's going to pull back that high. I have a feeling it may just be a small pullback before pushing down close to the protected lows.
And here's the thing about like a lot of these trades that I take, like this one, it might not go all the way back up there, but if it does, I want to be a participant. I want to be a seller at that price right there, at the 50% of that last push on this schematic. Well, does it have to go there? No, it doesn't. You know, it definitely doesn't. But if it does, I would take that sell. I would take that sell on this time frame and hold it. That is a perfectly good bias, perfectly good trade. Think about our rules. Well, how do we trade? Well, we wait for a liquidity grab. There's equal highs, liquidity grab, and then a break of structure. Well, we broke this structure, came back, tested, but was that the real break of structure, or was this the real break of structure? You can, like either one. You know, that you could have been a seller right there after a broke structure, and then look for sells in here. But now we broke this structure. So now what? So now we're waiting for the pullback. This could be liquidity into the mitigation. Now
what I was saying on EU is, I mean, applies to GU as well. We may not even see a pullback at all. It may just continue down to our demand zones and then reverse from there.
Exactly. You're totally right on that. It might just come down to here. And if it does, then, I'll be looking for, see, this one's tricky. This would be a good price to buy at, but I'm still not sure. This is our protected low, like you said. So I would like to see this get liquidated, and then I look for buys. So here's another way you could enter this position. It'd be a risk entry for sure. but it also does follow our rules. Boom.
Actually,
And they're
that's a
gonna
little
trade.
higher. No,
So-
that's good. That's good. That's a liquidity target.
But look, it's a 30 pip stop. So what?
And it's still
Yeah.
12R.
And it's still 12R. But what is it going to take, a month, 2 months, 3 months to do? Possibly. It could. But if I'm in it and I'm doing a challenge and it does turn around from there, because this is what I'm seeing on the chart, we have the break of structure, we have a liquidity low that did not break structure. Now we want to come down and mitigate the position that broke structure, take out that liquidity, and then trade and then continue the uptrend. Honestly, this is a beautiful trade right here. Both of these.
The way Dixie's been moving, potentially we could see the lows be hit as soon as early next week.
Yeah.
And after that, if it reverses, it may be a quick reversal. GU moves fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, after the liquidation and the mitigation happens, it moves quick. It moves stupid quick. So I like both of these trades. I like the sell and I like the buy on GU. I like both of them. And how much, literally, do you see me stressing out about it? Do you see me honing in on the 5-second charts and stuff on this? No. I have a bias. I have a trade idea. Take it. Take your trade ideas. I've missed so many trades because I was like, it's a 20 pip stop. I need to go down the lower time frame to find the fractal Wyckoff and blah, blah, blah. And then never got in on the trade. If I would have just entered the position, entered my thought, at least I would have been in on the position and made a couple $100.
Or a couple thousand.
Yeah. So and you guys know me, I'm not up in London, and a lot of this shit happens in London, And now, is it possible for me to for the price to just take me out, and then turn around? Yes, very possible as well. But that would just be a loss, It's just a loss. You got to keep, I say that a lot. It's just one loss. It's just, it's just a loss. The way we trade, the way we look at the markets, it is a lot of the times it's on the money. It's on the money, especially on these higher time frames. Especially on these higher time frames. NZD CAD, and the NZD pairs I haven't really been looking at too much. Looks like we're coming back down into this demand right here on the 4-hour. We could be looking for buys. Looks like we just broke structure to the upside right there, or that's taking out liquidity. Kind of unclear right now, but I do like the impulse to move up. So possibly look for buys in here. But still not too confident about it, so that's why I'm staying away. NZD Chef, and not really a fan of that. NZD JPY, not really. Don't even really know what's going on with it, honestly. We broke structure to the upside. Kind of see the same thing on these JPY pairs. All these JPY pairs are kind of doing similar shit. This one didn't come down as far, but they're all kind of doing similar shit. So with this one, it's not that clear to me. So that's why I just been staying away. NU, I haven't looked at NU in a while. Break a structure. Should be looking. See, like Destiny. This is how long it takes me to look at these charts. Okay, I'm done. And you, I'm done. I'll wait for this to be hit, or I like this zone right here. It's around the 50. That's it.
That's cool.
Then I move on. CAD's been skyrocketing up since we accumulated down here. And I was looking at a buy in here. I did catch a buy in here somewhere. I forget where. I deleted it. But I'm not really liking CAD. Right here we got this huge trend line. I will want to see it come down into this. That. Take out the liquidity. Take out liquidity near the 50. Here's your mint block. Boom, done. That's it. No other analysis needed on those. That is it. Missed this by a couple pips. And it would have been monster too. So we had to break a structure. Same thing. Look, same thing. We had to break a structure. Here's your 50%. And now we finally broke structure to the upside again. What happened in this area? We finally got the breaker structure. We got the test. We got the breaker structure. And I was looking at this demand zone. Took it from the 50 and didn't hit.
Can you go back? Scroll to the left, yeah. You see how you have that big imbalance, right?
Yeah.
I noticed that sometimes when it's that big, it doesn't always fully come down. Do anyone take the 50% of just an imbalance zone?
Some people do. Some people do. I don't. But I know a lot of smart money traders do look at that. I watched Colton was bullish for a while, and he likes the 50% of the imbalances. I know a couple other people that I've seen do that, but I don't look at that because most likely what it is, it's probably just this block right here, this whole mint block on the higher time frame.
Oh, okay.
So, because if you take every 50% of every big imbalance like that, you're gonna get fucked on it so many times. 'Cause a lot of times it fills it all in. Sometimes it fills it half in. You don't know. Here's your imbalance. Here's your little demand zone at the 50. And you would have got screwed and screwed. So literally, with this is how you could have looked at it. There's your mint block. There's your last down push that took out liquidity. That traded above structure. Could have been looking for buys in here. I was looking at it. I do remember this. Could have been looking at this. Could This was my buy. This was my buy on this, and it didn't hit either. And I'm starting to realize this about chef pairs. It don't like to come to the 50 either.
Yeah.
That would have been my trade right there. My target. You know, and very simple. And look, it doesn't hit, you know? It doesn't hit. Not worried about it.
Yeah.
You know? Can't be worried about it. But so let's say we went down. Let's say we went down. And Destiny, this is how I back test too. I don't use the replay tool. I kind of look back and see, and I'm like, where could I have got in at? Like, how could this have worked?
Okay.
Because the replay tool always fucks me up.
Yeah, I'd prefer to back test like that as well.
Who is that? Is that Esty?
Yeah, what do you say about
Yes,
that?
mate. How you
What's
doing?
up, bro? So, like, could I have got in on here? Well, if we're already expecting sell buys from this whole mid block right here, this whole last down push. Could I have been looking buys? Could I have looked at this as the break?
Yeah.
Could I have been looking at this as my last down push? Could I have been a buyer right there? And same target.
And so, even if, let's say you take that was a what, 4 hour, 1 hour, whatever. You took that first one, right? And then once it hit like your POI, are you always gonna still go down to the smaller time frames to see if you can still try to catch that?
Like I said, I think that's also that's going to depend on, you know, what time it is. Am I sleeping? Am I, you know, what is it doing when I'm looking at the charts? You know, like, what time is this happen? This happened at 9 o'clock in the morning for me. Perfect. That would have been a perfect, beautiful fucking trade right there. But if I was looking at this that night right in here, like, if you look at the times, like, here's midnight right here. If I was looking at this during the day, the break of structure, and then it started doing this shit, but this is my bias, I would have taken this first one. I would have taken this one right here. And I would have took my ass to sleep, woke up the next morning, and then looked at the trade, find out that I didn't get tapped in, and then I would have been like, okay, so what's happening? You know, we are at my point of interest on this pair. What is happening? Are we getting a fractal Wyckoff? Well, there's your liquidity taken out. There's your liquidity taken out. There's your minor breaker structure. There's your test. Would have been beautiful. Would have been beautiful. You can't be married to the 50% on a lot of these pairs. Does it come and hit it a lot? Yes, it does. So, like, if I would have taken this, I would have taken both of these trades. Literally. I would have had this going. I would have traded this just in case I get liquidated on this. That doesn't mean my bias is wrong. It just means that I went down too low on the time frame, and it could have just easily respected this mid block.
Right. That makes sense.
So, I mean, that's why I was saying before, and that's why you were saying, like, you kind of like do both. Yeah, I look at a lot of higher time frames, but when it gets down to my areas, yes, I will definitely look for fractal Wyckoff in those areas if I get it, if I'm on the charts at the right time. You know, That's a lot of factors in that. And that's why I don't mind taking a lot of these so-called risk entries, we'll say. But the trades that I enter, they're not risk entries. They're literally just higher time frame entries. That's all they are. Higher time frame entries. They meet the criteria. I have a bias. I go with my story. Like, do I feel comfortable taking this trade? If my answer is yes, then take it. You know, I've seen it so many times where I'm like, well, and I start saying all this shit. Like, well, I could look for the fractal Wyckoff and this. Well, what if it just goes down? You know, what if? And then, you know, like, the next morning I wake up and I'm like, well, what if I just took the motherfucker? You know? So that's why I incorporate both sides of my trading style. Is I incorporate lower time frame, but I also look at higher time frame, and I can trade both ways.
Yeah.
UJ, caught a really nice buy on UJ. And this was a simple entry to Destiny. Could have been sellers up here. Me and Johnny were looking at this. He brought this to my attention. I didn't even look at it because and I'm gonna stress this out so much, because I did not go to the daily time frame. If I would have went to the daily time frame, it would have been clear as day.
Yeah.
Clear as day on EJ. We know we're consolidating in this range, but there is your institutional candle that sent the market down to mitigate this position down here. Could have looked for buys in here, which would have been great. Could have looked for sells in here, which would have been great. Would I have looked for sells in here? Probably not, because after this break of structure and then this break of structure, I'm looking for buys. So that's more of the reason why I didn't take it. But if you are trying to ping pong this market, this was beautiful to ping pong this area right here. We get a break of structure, come down to mitigation, could have looked for buys in here to take up to fill in the imbalance, would hit nice. And then this never hit the 50, could have looked for sells, but I remember looking at that and nothing was clear. Nothing was clear for this sell in here. This right here is a bullshit break of structure. This right here is what fucks people up so bad, is that it comes near the 50 and you never get the break of structure. So then you wait for this, and then you wait for this, and then you get liquidated. Then you get liquidated over here. Well, look what happens here. Here you hit the 50. Here you have an impulsive break of structure. Stays on the other side of structure too. Comes back up. Could have been a seller right here. Boom. There's your trade. And since you are pro bullish on this pair, and you like literally, I probably would have taken this trade right to here and have been done. And have been done with it. Would I have been pissed that it went all the way down to here? Probably so. But I'm more bullish on this pair than anything. So that still would have been a good trade. And I believe there was an entry in here as well. So you looked in here, you had the break of structure right here. You came back up into this area, into your area that you want to be in. So this is where you would be looking for the fractal Wyckoff. What happened in here? Well, came up here, rejected, broke structure to the downside. Here's your test. Where could you have been a seller at? Here's your mid block. Here's your short. Stop right there. So that 1 to 2 just turned into a 1 to 5.
Okay.
And what did it actually run though? Ran 1 to 28 if you would have got in there. And that's just me going down the 5-minute time frame. You know? I mean, that's not, like I'm saying, I think a lot of people make it too complicated where we got to get down on the seconds chart. We got to get that, like that 2-pip entry, like try to get your 1 to 28s, like all the time. Like it's not going to happen all the time. It's just not. Like when it happens, fuck yeah, awesome. But if it doesn't, you can't force it. Can't force it. That's just one thing I've learned. You can't force it. So I know Rodriguez and a couple other people were looking for sells in this area, which would have been fine too. But I was already in this buy. So, and this is a buy that I did take. I did not miss this. I would have bought this on my challenge account. But what happened? The only thing I did not like about this is that when it came down to this demand, it created equal lows. But I've seen it so many times where it creates equal lows and it does not liquidate it till later. So I was like, this is still a good demand zone to take higher. Still is, no matter what. Like you can say that, this is liquidity. Okay, well, great. This one, let it build liquidity. I'll get in on it too, because what happened? Why did I take this trade? Not because we got the break of structure. There's your strong impulsive move up, the break structure to the upside, 50% of the last down push. Hits perfectly like 3 times. And then takes off.
I think point out there too. Good morning, everybody, by the way.
Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning.
I'm not baked, but I might sound like I am because I'm just laying in bed. But go back to your entry there. One thing that I'm beginning for myself to get kind of ruthless about is, did it break structure on the way down there? So there's kind of like a fake entry, almost 50%, but not quite. Yeah, that motherfucker. So that I wrote out just a flow chart for myself.
Yeah.
Did it in one of the just basically is, it's one of those things where it's like, did it do this? Yes. Go to the next step. No. Then wait. Every answer for no points to wait. And one of them is that, did it break? Did it, was there liquidity built? And then the next question is, did the liquidity get taken? And I think that's an important part of that entry there, is that there was liquidity constructed and then it got swept.
Yep.
Before it took off.
Yep. You might need to do that checklist, Johnny.
Yeah. I sent it to JJ for review. It's not. I just wrote it up last night. I was baked, and I was like, you know what? I'm seeing shit like this. Actually, I wrote it up at work. I wasn't baked. But basically, just from what I've been looking at their entries, Andre and JJ looking at their entries and stuff, and looking at my entries and seeing like, what's the stuff I would have actually gotten in on? Okay, that lost. Why? And a lot of times it's because, let's just say, it's a thing like this where it just like went, created a mint block, broke structure up, came back and tested 50%, and then I got in, and then it didn't do what I wanted it to do, But if it did this, almost hits, it creates some liquidity, doesn't hit 50%. And that's the thing I'm starting to get for myself too, is like, okay, well, if it hits 52% and takes off, well, that wasn't a trade for me, because there are plenty of times, and Danny kind of taught me this early on. I didn't understand why 50%. I still don't understand 50%. I mean, I know that there's like the bulk of the orders are right in the middle there, but it's like, it's just, who cares? It happens a lot. The probability of hitting 50% happens a lot. We've all seen it a million times. But does it hit 50%? When it hits that 50%, did it take some liquidity on the way to that 50%? That's a new part of my criteria, I think. I'm going to be really strict about that. I mean, you know, it'll keep me out of trades, but I probably lose less.
See, like right here, I would have taken a loss right here too, like, or broke even. Like,
where?
We have this liquidity right here. This took it out right here. Broke this structure to the upside. I probably would have took an L on this, honestly. I would have looked at this. I think I was looking at this. I would have placed my buy right here.
Risk entry?
It's not a risk entry.
Yeah, because you've got a little bit of liquidity, or little liquidity built in there, but it's at the bottom of the zone. And like, maybe if you went into the 30-second chart, and maybe there would be something there that needed to get mitigated down there that you could actually enter on the 30-second and get like a 1 to 10 or something.
It's still not a risk entry though, because it meets the criteria. We took all the liquidity right here, all of this.
Yeah.
And then we broke structure to the upside. Did it create liquidity before breaking structure? Yeah, right here. Created liquidity, and then traded through it, then broke structure. I would have took an L on that. I mean, I'm not even going bullshit.
So what I'm saying is, if you zoom in on that area there, Met block is created, it gets validated, it comes back down. There's no real liquidity that gets created within the zone there. Maybe just a little wick there or something like that. Yeah, that guy. Or a little, farther to the left, just a little tiny little wick. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. That's what I would be looking for.
Yeah.
But we got to close. We got a strong candle close down below 50%. I'm looking at that kind of stuff too, and thinking like, if I get that, like a strong candle close below my zone, below my 50%, I might not be interested in it. I might look a little further for like a refined entry, on the 30-second or 15-second or something. But even then,
and this would be a good scenario where like I would have scaled in. I would have went down in the 1 minute. I would have taken this loss. I'm not even gonna bullshit. I still would have taken this loss, but I might have taken 2 losses. Honestly, I might have taken this as a fractal.
You see, I wouldn't even look at that without being on the lower time frame.
Yeah. Well, on the lower time frame, it would have looked good. I mean, you can kind of see it on the 5 minute. Where it took liquidity, traded up, broke the structure, 50%. Created liquidity right here. Broke structure. Could have taken this too, 50%. But all of those would have lost. There's multiple entries on, and why you could lose on this right here. And there would have been a bunch of losses. Would it have met all our criteria? Yeah. But the only thing with this and why this would have lost is because we haven't came into our higher time frame bias. Literally, what did it do here? It took the liquidity, but it didn't come into.
And that's a whole other thing. Yeah, it's another missing piece of this conversation is like, yeah, we had all that action happen, but I wouldn't have been looking at that in the first place because it wasn't at a zone that I was interested in.
Yeah, because this would have been the zone, and it's already mitigated that right here. This zone. Right here. Not even gonna lie, I probably would have took a couple losses there. I probably would.
You would have gotten in on that. Why would you have gotten in on it though? Like what zone was there that would have enticed you?
This zone right here. Saw this liquidity with this right here. Because this wasn't marked up as liquidity at the time. at the time, it was just this. Let's do this real quick. You're looking at that, and you're following trend. There's the down push, broke structure. There's the mitigation, broke structure. There's liquidity. There's your... See, we haven't really got the break yet of this, what you want to call that. That's why I was looking at sales.
Yeah, and that's 50% right there. Or it already hit 50%.
But we could have been looking at
Well, that's the cloud zone. See, I just don't think you would have gotten into that trade.
I wouldn't have, because I've been waiting for this. Because this is more what I was looking at. I was looking at this as more extreme, you know? But and that's what brings me back to why I trade a bunch of different pairs. Because if I was just trading UJ like I used to do, I would have took 5 losses right here and been like, what the fuck?
Sure, because you would have been zoomed in, yeah.
I would have been zoomed in on the 1 minute time frame, saying, what is going on here?
Yeah, because, well, UJ on the 1 minute, forget about it. That shit's crazy.
Yeah. Been watching it.
Hit the 50. There's our test right there. That's your entry, maybe. But, you know, you're on the 1 minute, so what the fuck do we know?
Exactly.
Oh, shit. Now it's way down there. Maybe it'll go back up. There's my...
So, back and forth. Like, I mean...
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, we haven't even got to...
Haven't even validated. Okay, now that block is validated.
Yeah, now it's validated.
See, my thinking right now is we're supposed to be algorithmic, you know?
Yeah.
I'm trying to make a, you know, my checklist is worded as a flowchart, you know? It's asking me, has this happened yet? And if it hasn't, then don't fucking do anything, because I noticed this week that in the last couple of weeks, I'm really hungry to get into trades. I really want to get into a trade. You know, my mind, I'm not even going to say it's me anymore. It's just my mind, my tendencies want to be in a trade, you know?
Yeah.
And so then it's looking, and okay, there's a break of structure. Fuck yeah. Okay, gonna test it. Fuck yeah, I'm in. And then it blasts through because it didn't create liquidity first or something, you know? And so now it's like, no, if you want to be algorithmic, like Anton says, you know, if you want to, you know, have rules, then fucking have rules and follow them so that a monkey can follow them, you know? Yes or no? Okay, did this happen? Okay, hit the button. Okay, now you wait. Okay, what happened next? Did this happen yet? No. Okay, wait. Did this happen yet? Now it did. Okay, yeah, hit the button. You know, or whatever. And that's what I'm trying to get it to, so I can have my own understanding, but also have my own rules followed to a T all the time. I think, and for me, that's how it's got to be worded. Like for myself, it's like, well, yeah, this did sort of happen. You know, no, there's no sort of.
Yeah.
Did this happen? I mean, yes or no?
So, like in this right here, like did we get impulsively break a structure to the upside?
Yes.
Have we?
Yes.
Have we hit a demand zone? A significant demand zone?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, there's 2 giant confluences right there.
Yes. Did we take liquidity before hitting this demand zone? That's the one thing that I was nervous about taking this trade, is because it didn't take liquidity, it built liquidity.
Created it, yeah.
It also took some. It took a bunch of liquidity on the way down, and that's another thing too that I'm looking at is like when it takes liquidity, how much liquidity does it take? Does it take just like 1 point of liquidity, or does it take like 2 points of liquidity? And this one takes like pretty much 2 points of liquidity on the way down there. Look at that. You got the triple lows there, and then you got another little liquidity point down there. I see that formation a lot too, where it builds some shit up, but some lower time frame stuff gets taken. It leaves another liquidity point, and then there's a previous one even deeper, so it takes both of those on its way down or on its way up, which is exactly what it did there.
So like another thing with this, like, yeah, that was my trade, but I also had another thought process as well on this is, okay, if that doesn't work, then this is a good possibility as well.
Absolutely.
So like I'm still looking at this trade right here.
Yeah, for real.
Like that could very possibly be a trade for next week. Not this week, but next week.
Because look what you got there. You have 2 points of liquidity that it's going to take on its way down to that 50%.
Exactly.
Now, and you got those equal highs to the top, above.
Mm-hmm. It's going to bust through.
Yeah.
And
if you zoom way out, yeah.
And we got this
points of liquidity to the upside.
I was going to say, bring that higher. Your target.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Because you got, look at that. See?
Yeah, that's a nice swing.
Oh my God. See, this shit starts getting so fucking crazy. And that's how I'm going to trade it. I'm going to be a little more ruthless with my rules. I'm going to take fewer trades for a while. I'm just going to like focus on just the highest probability for the setup that I'm looking for.
I like Danny's approach. He's a tweener. And it forces him that he knows when he does go to a lower time frame, I'm not just trying to get to my POY. He's actually at his POY, which makes it a more stronger chance.
Exactly.
And that's something I need to add because I don't think I actually put that. I just put mine like assuming that I was in the POI. So yeah, that's something I need to add.
So anxious.
Like, are you in a POI?
Yep. Because I'm like you. I'm so anxious. I want to get in the trade, so I'm trading down to my POI, trying to get every single leg, and then I'm like, what the hell?
Yep.
That's why I look at 28 pairs.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with like 8 or 10 for now, but
yeah, that's plenty. I'll
go up there. Yeah, it is.
Because, I mean, like when I just looked at like all the pairs, like a lot of them I skipped. Like a lot of them I was like, I don't like it. I don't like it. You know, I know the few that I'm looking at. Like, yeah, I have 28 pairs on my watch list, but I'm also looking more at like other stuff, like more probable charts that I like. You know, charts that are clear to me. You know, like just because I say every pair doesn't mean that I'm trading every single pair. Like I look at them to see what is going on and see if there's good potential in anything on a higher time frame, and then if there is, then I'll go down in lower time frame. But lately, I haven't really been going any lower than 5 minutes. And sometimes your stop loss is just about the same on a 5 minute. If you can see it, than it is on a 1 minute. If you can follow structure and know what you're looking for, then honestly, your stop loss is going to be exactly the same.
What? Just ask him. Where are you taking me? You'll see. Oh no, it's got you.
Love it.
I was checking this difference. Escape and spots you.
But yeah, that kind of goes over like all my pairs that I was really looking at. I mean, I don't really look at gold or anything. I have it on my charts, like gold, US 30, US 100 and stuff. But I haven't really been, like looking at them hardcore or analyzing them. I'm very interested to see what SP's got later on.
What time is that? 5?
Yeah, I don't know. What is that? 2?
Oh, 2.
Let's see. Events. Well, SP's right here. Can you hear? I mean, because it says.
Yeah. It's at 7 o'clock my time. I'm London time, so
which is 3 hours from now.
Yeah, so whatever that is in your region.
Yeah, it's 2 o'clock for me.
11 a.m. for me.
Does it say in the events? Does it say the proper time for you?
Yeah, it's your local time.
Sweet, cool. Yeah, mine says 1 p.m.
Yeah, Destiny, you're looking at VINs, I think. Go to events and look at the gold back test and overview.
Yeah, that's
It's
what I'm
like
looking
the
at.
second.
Yeah, mine says 2 p.m.
I'm in Central Time.
Destiny, same time as me.
Yeah.
So
Yep,
Destiny,
we're at 2.
okay.
Hell yeah. Cool. Mystery solved.
Hey, Esky, since you're here, do you have anything to add on everything that I said, or any corrections that I need to make in my plan, or anything? Because I know you've been funding for a while. Me and you kind of like chit chatted back and forth in the mentorship and stuff. And I know me and you took a lot of the same trades before.
Yeah. I think what you've gone through today is pretty much on the mark.
Yeah.
Nothing to add. It's been a great session to listen in on.
Beautiful.
Good shit.
Well, I'm going to go get some food, come back at 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get a shower too. Does anybody else have anything they want to add before we shut this down for a couple hours?
Yeah. Are there any other pairs that are setting up that you guys are seeing that you want to talk about?
I'm okay.
I'm good.
Okay, great. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.